Welcome back to the Mothers of an Album release show presented by Mango Juul. I don't Juul, but I Mango Juul. We're playing.
That's perfect.
We're playing the song game called Rated. We're gonna throw out some bands. We're gonna say if they're overrated, underrated, or perfectly rated.
Now, from what we understand, the penalties are drinking, and the penalties are not really based on anything. It's if your opinion is wrong, deemed by the majority, you drink.
Or if you just kind of suck on camera and you're making the stream go down. You can have a great opinion, but if you portray it poorly, we're just gonna knock it.
Do we take turns answering, or do we just blurt it out?
Blurt it out. We're just gonna be. I might even talk over you. All right, band number 1. Thank you, America. Poll says Aerosmith.
Rated.
Overrated.
Oh, all right.
Perfectly
Jake,
rated.
Give me first. Give me some opinions.
Perfectly rated. Legendary. Toys from the Attic. Classic album. It's probably in the top 50 rock and roll albums of all time. Perfectly rated. Steven Tyler, incredible. They had that. They use. They're a Gibson band, right? They use Gibsons probably a little bit.
Who gives a shit?
Perfect. They're perfectly rated. Not under, not over. Maybe even edging towards underrated.
All right, Denny.
The fact that they use Gibson products is irrelevant.
Wrong.
They have tons
That's a drink to
of
you.
great hits.
Name some.
Joe Perry is perfectly rated, if not underrated. Steven Tyler
You're going against yourself.
is wildly overrated because
Oh wow.
he just screams.
Yeah, but
And
he can-
sometimes he's dope,
Oh,
but other times
controversy.
he's not. Now, they have their hits, but some of their later hits that are totally whack just don't fucking hit. But they were in movies.
For example.
All right.
What's that space
Jaded?
movie where they blow up the fucking meteor? It's stupid. Oh, Jaded's dope.
All
I
right.
retract my statement.
Jaded is dope. All
They're
right.
underrated.
Drink. Drink.
All right, quick last pivot. Overrated, underrated. Liv Tyler.
Underrated. Underrated.
Perfectly rated.
Perfectly rated.
She was Eowyn. She was in Leftovers.
We don't need.
All right. Moving on.
Nobody cares.
Overrated, underrated. Bush.
Perfectly rated.
And what is the rating?
A B-.
Liv Tyler was Arwen, not
Nobody gives a shit about Liv Tyler.
This is not a Lord of the Rings podcast. This is a Bush podcast.
Bush. I listened to the Gavin Rossdale interview on the ID10T podcast. Perfectly rated. Gavin Rossdale is a really reasonable guy. He is a super nice guy.
You never talked to Gwen Stefani, have you?
I've never talked to Gwen Stefani. No, I've not. We've not crossed paths in our musical endeavors. But Bush is perfectly rated. I think
I agree.
he knows where. But he.
So you'd say 20th best president of all time?
Which one? Which Bush?
If you go to a hockey game and you don't hear a Bush song, they fucked up.
Then
The venue is fucked
the
up.
venue is a machine head.
Hold on. I might shade towards underrated because Everything Zen is an incredible song. Just throwing that out there. That when you think about it,
Logan, who wins? He wavered, so he should lose. Watch that wavered on the last one, but I lost.
All right, Dennis on confidence alone.
Drink.
All right,
but who's
great.
closer to what the poll says?
The poll says Bush sucks,
Oh, there's a poll?
and Bush were probably the most derivative of the bands, and a British band should never be worse than the American bands they're compared to.
This
all right.
poll's garbage.
You're British.
Next,
Yeah.
the British. All right, next, overrated, underrated, Audio Slave.
Underrated.
Man, it's hard to. How can we shit on any of these bands saying they're over or underrated?
You don't have to shit on them. I'm just saying they're underrated.
I think they're perfectly rated. It's a super group. It's a super group. How you know?
Jake obviously will agree with whatever VH1 says, and just agrees that everyone's just rated perfectly.
Well, except for whatever this fucking poll is.
This poll is a list on my iPhone.
Oh, I thought you guys had data. All right, you're saying underrated.
Because nobody ever really talks about Audio Slave. Nobody gives them any credit. Their songs just exist and people know them, but when you sit down and you listen to the body of work, they have so many fucking bangers. You're like, oh yeah, Audiosleep kicks ass. And then you listen to a song like fucking Dandelion, and you're like, that's never on the radio. You have to find it. And you're like, this song's awesome. And then you listen to the next one, and you're like, this whole album is awesome. And Tom Morello
Also, Cochise
is the man.
Cochise as a kickoff.
We need to
of a
tag
band.
Tom Morello in this. If it'll get
Hashtag
played.
Tom Morello. Just because Rage Against the Machine and Soundgarden are two of the greatest bands of the last 30 years,
So how
doesn't
can,
make them not good.
Well,
they're
but-
great.
but-
I'm not saying people say they're not good. Just nobody recognizes
Yeah.
how good they are. Therefore, underrated because they're not rated
maybe
enough.
a top 5
Band of all time.
Oh,
Some say.
I'd say top 5 like supergroup of all time.
Sure.
how can
I would rather
a-
listen to them than the Traveling
How,
Wilburys.
how can a
100%.
band comprised of some of the finest 90s and 2000s bands be underrated? It's the all-stars of Rage Against the Machine, Audioslave. How can they be underrated is my question.
Nobody talks about it.
Because
Everyone talks
because
about
they're not
it.
being
Why don't
rated
we talk
enough.
about
We
Just
do-
'cause they-
all right,
because-
we're gonna take a break to find out where Jake is hearing all these Audioslave conversations every day. Just
I listen to
enough with the Audioslave.
I watch a lot of Rick
Can I get a
Beato
break?
videos. You know,
Rick Beata, come on our podcast. All right, we're gonna do one more. This is a band I
I
saw.
want to take a hard stance on one of these. I know I'm just saying
All
rated.
You
right.
can go first on the next
All right.
Godsmack.
Overrated.
Oh.
Overrated.
Oh,
Godsmack
2 people don't like Godsmack.
Sucks.
As a guy who
Oh, these guys never joined the Navy. Probably hit 3 doors down in America.
I mean,
Hear me out.
yes.
All right, Godsmack.
Godsmack had some cool stuff, but you know, it was a little simplistic.
All right, I'm
what
gonna
they put out there.
Throw you a Godsmack song, and you're gonna say no or yeah. Voodoo.
No.
Yeah. A great song. That's a great song.
I Stand Alone.
No.
Yeah. Okay. This whole, all right. They're perfectly rated in my mind.
Oh, back to the VH1 special, perfectly rated.
Now, America, let it be known that Logan and I have a special connection to Godsmack. After we took a trip to New Orleans,
Which Jake would not let me fall asleep before our flight. He kept rubbing fried chicken on my face.
and when we got back here on our 4-hour flight from New Orleans, in order to stay awake, Logan driving us both home, he cranked Godsmack in the car,
Oh, yeah.
which was a 45-minute drive. So we listened to an entire Godsmack album. It was both a horrible memory and an incredibly fond memory.
Yes.
So I think they're perfectly rated in my opinion.
Sounds a little personal to me.
A little bit.
I
Is
have-
this not what this is?
I have no comment. I don't. Godsmack's whack. Not into it. Thumbs down.
All right, I think we all have to drink on that one. Yeah.